Welcome to Martini Time, the happy time of the day. This is speaking to you from Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world, but then you too are the center of the world. So, this is the last of my Beefeater's gin. Go back to the cheap stuff tomorrow. Okay. Boy, my voice sounds like I got a frog in it. This morning I was talking about why does Trump flip-flop? And I thought it was a good talk because I really wanted to understand why Trump flip-flops. Because it's not logical. And the media can't figure it out. They're constant for years, ever since why does he do that? What's the purpose? What does he get out of it? Why does he get it? Why does he say one thing today and the opposite thing the next day? And then deny he said it the previous day? When the recording is right there. You know, why? What's going on, you see? And people come up with all kinds of theories, but none of them really, I think, are logical. Because if you say, well, he's a narcissist. Well, narcissists aren't crazy. You can say, oh, he's manipulated by Putin. Well, Putin wouldn't be making him look like an idiot, you know. So, oh, he's this or that. So all the different theories, to me, really don't capture explain it to me. So the title of this talk is The Compulsion of Trump. Now, I know people criticize me because, oh, you're not being very spiritual, you're just being political. Well, I explained this morning, that I use Trump, because it's what we've got. And everybody relates, like talking about a movie that everyone's seen, or a book that everyone's read. You can analyze the character in the book or the character in the movie because everybody has it as a reference. Everybody's seen Trump. So you may have different opinions or beliefs about Trump, but at least we all know what we're looking at. So I look at Trump like the Great Gatsby, or like a Shakespearean character like Hamlet. Trump is our Hamlet. To lie or not to lie? That is the question. So let's talk about compulsion. Because to me, this explains it. But then I'm always coming up with a theory that explains everything. And it never does. But it's fun, you know. So I remember really getting a clue to this, not only from my Zen readings with Albert Lowe, recommend him, Albert Lowe on Amazon. And I remember the movie, The Spotlight, which was about the Boston Globe's expose of the priests in their, the pedophiles, the priests that molested choir boys. And one of them, the reporters were interviewing this priest, and he said, it wasn't a sin because I got no pleasure from it. So if you don't get any pleasure from something, it's a compulsion. In other words, you just have to do it. A compulsion is, I think I'll do this because I'll get some pleasure from it, or I don't think I will do it. It's I have to do it. I have no choice. The compulsion takes you over. And you do, and this is very common. We all have these compulsions. I just found myself smoking and I quit. But I was sitting there and my hand got the cigarettes a compulsion is not a conscious choice. And a compulsion is repetitive behavior. That's when it becomes a compulsive ritual. It's repetitive, compulsive, and it hurts you. There's a side effect to it. yet have to do it. So Trump flip-flops. Well, let's look at the compulsion of the priest, because that made a lot of sense to me. Why do Catholic priests compulsively sexually molest boys, knowing full well that their life will be destroyed, their vocation is shot, their relationship with God? Why do they do that, you see? Well, here's the way I see it. Now, this formula, pay attention, this formula is in everything in life. In human life, there are two imperatives. Follow your nature, be a unique individual, follow your dream, follow your instincts. This is Trump. Follow your gut. American dream, follow your nature. Don't be obedient to the authorities and the man. Follow your nature. That's the American way. So that's an imperative. You want to do what you want. I don't want to always be doing what you want. I want to do what I want. I want to follow my nature. I want to define myself. I want to create myself. I want to follow my destiny, not yours. I don't want to be defined. I want to define myself. I want to be who I am. I want to speak my voice. This is an imperative. But what's the other imperative? There's an opposing imperative. Do your duty. Belong to the group. Belong to the larger organization. Belong to your religion. Belong to your church. Belong to your club. Belong to humanity. Belong. Be a part of something bigger than you. Don't just be sitting out there by yourself in exile, like Napoleon on the St. Helena. You see. So that's an imperative too. Do your duty. Fulfill your role. Obey your dharma. That's virtue. Do your duty. Do your best, you see. Follow your nature. Be unique. Follow your nature. Follow your desires. Follow your instinct. Do your duty. Follow God. Follow the church. These are two incompatible imperatives. And they make up Western civilization. Joseph Campbell spent his whole life studying this. The earthquake or the fault of these two imperatives. One comes from the Levant, the biblical imperative, obey God, obey the higher order, get in alignment with God and the cosmos, get in alignment with the church and your religion, get in alignment with your country, that's patriotism. Be yourself, be unique, stand alone, don't copy anybody, be an original, obey, be unique, boom. You can't do both at the same time. So the priest, let's get back to that example. His nature says, I want sex. I'm a sexual man. I'm a sexual being. His duty says, no sex. No sex. But I want sex. No sex. How can you obey both? You have to obey both. If you're going to be a priest, you have to obey, you do your duty. If you're going to be a human being with natural desires, you're going to want to have sex. What to do? So, when this happens, when you have two equal but contradictory imperatives haunting you, dividing you, nature, duty, be the good wife. But I want to be a lawyer. No, be the good wife. Don't go to school. Stay in the kitchen. The son, I want to be a violin player. No, you're going to be a plumber like your dad. It's everywhere. So since you have to obey both, how do you obey the one that is two? Well, the priest solves the problem by having sexual relationships with boys. So then he can fulfill his sexual desire, but at the same time, he's not having sex with women. And he's not taking any pleasure in it because it's a compulsion. So this split, what I'm trying to describe here, don't get off on, the priest and all those bastards, they ought to be castrated and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm trying to understand and share with you how compulsion works. So if I talk about the priest, it's a metaphor. And if I talk about Trump, it's a metaphor. For understanding, not for condemnation and judgment. So the problem is that when these two imperatives are equal, you can't obey one or the other because each one is equal, which means it's ambiguous. It's called a double bind. If you choose one, you lose the other. The other one gets you. If you choose the other one gets you. You can't choose when the choices are equal. You see. Where choices are always made when one is better than the other. But if they're both the same, what do? Well, you have to come up with a creative solution that contains both of them. So let's get to Trump then. His nature and duty. Well, the duty, of course, is the presidential duty, the office of the president, that he took a vow to fulfill. Now, normally, when a person becomes president, they give up their nature. They give up their personal business. They give up their personal story, their personality, and they become the president. And there's a tremendous charisma with that, tremendous power. But you're not. They know, most presidents know that that power is not personal. It's the power of the office. So they fulfill the duty of the office to the best of their ability. But what if you don't give up your nature? What if you don't give up that? What if you don't give up your personality, your personal power, your story, you see? So now you've got your personal story, your personal power, your ego, your nature, your history, your strengths, your strategies, your success, your ratings, your popularity, all of that. What if that's equal to the office, to the imperative of the presidency? You can't choose. Duty, nature, equal. What do? You flip-flop. So one day you say, it's this. The next day you say, it's that. The next day, then you deny that and say, it's this. Then you say, it's this, and deny that. And then there's that, and you deny this. So you go flip-flopping through time, trying to obey both commandments at the same time. But you can't. So you spread it out, and you obey one today, and obey the other one tomorrow. That way, you get to do both. So, does that make any sense? It does to me. Well, we'll dig into this some more because has great legs. It's like a centipede. It really goes into our personal life, into the conflicts of our own life. Between nature, who am I? Am I just a thing defined by other people? Or am I a unique voice? a unique spirit, a true individual, or I wear the clothes of uniqueness and pretend. You see, fashion is a way. I want to be unique, so what do? Well, I'm going to wear that new fashion. And I'll look like I'm unique. Look at me, I'm really hip and up, you see, I'm wearing the latest fashion. But I'm really just obeying the latest fashion. So I'm belonging to the latest fashion while being unique. So I get to be unique by being the latest rebellious fashion. You see? So if I want to be unique, what am I going to do? Well, I'll join a group that's rebellious and unique. Then I can belong to the group and be unique. I get to do both at the same time. But you really don't. We'll talk about this later. I'll see you in the morning. Buddha's in your landfill. Tune in. You never know what's going to come up.